Well, first of all, I want to congratulate all of you. I am breathless as I sit here today, and not just because of all the finery in front of me, but also from the film last night. You guys are beyond badass. Amazing job. And I've talked to all of the elder statesmen, shall we say, previously about this film. So let's tackle the new guys to the team. Can you talk a little bit about the learning curve of blending action, learning armament and weaponry, and the benefits of having Brad Martin and J.J. Perry in your corner as stunt coordinator and fight choreographer? You can start, Kellen.
Well, sure. I think that's why we all love action movies. We all love shooting guns, and we all love learning new techniques. I know for myself, I'm a motocross player, so every time, every new action movie, I get to learn some new trait. Working with them, and to add Dan Bradley, who's the master of second unit and stunt choreography, and just compiling both of them together. I think what you had with the first one was the gem of all the action, and you had a lot of blood and guts. Second one, you had the humor. So what Sly's done with this third one, it's all trial and error. If you don't mind me, well, yeah. If you don't mind me, I just got done with the press tour, so I learned what to say, kind of. And, with this third one, you have a great layering of the action and the comedy, and then with all the stunts. I mean, we're all athletic individuals. I think, we all live an active lifestyle, so we get to push and push and push. And I think all the stunt guys, with AJ and Matt and Dan, they all know what we can do, and they push us to do even more. So it gets bigger and louder, and we definitely had a lot of fun doing this one.
Well, it's also a little bit of a boys' club. Like, there's a lot of pressure to, do the stunts yourself. Like, nobody, if they're like, oh, do you want a double? You're like, you can't do a double. Like, they're like, oh, you really want a double? So there's this one stunt that, JJ does where he gets blown off a bridge. And I go, JJ, that was crazy. He goes, no, man, that was loco. He lifts up his shirt, and it's loco tattooed on his stomach.
JJ was awesome in general that he truly tried to customize everything to us. So, I come from an athletic background, and he specifically found a bunch of judo and sambo specialists just for me in my fights, and not just judo techniques for me to do, but people that in judo, the person taking the fall is called the uke, and so he brought in a lot of people that were very proper ukes and knew how to take a good fall, and made things really easy for me personally. And then it was great just learning stuff. Like, my favorite things is when we got to learn how to clear premises together. We all took turns being point, and you're like, okay, this is how we do it Israeli style. This is how you do it Army style. This is Marine style.
That's
and
probably where I had the most problem. Remember that?
He just goes around the corner like tactical. Come on,
dude, your barrel's
the
pointing
hardest
at
part
me.
for Victor is when we have to go in through a new door. We have to give commands silently, and his silence is something that I haven't really seen yet.
People say I'm a little loud, but I don't believe it.
They called you wannabe Rambo. But then he just busts in a room and starts shooting.
Yeah, and Dan was awesome in that he would just kind of let me go. So if I have the whole choreography memorized every time. So if I start, it's hard for me to stop because I don't really hear him say stop. So he would just let it keep rolling and let me just go through the whole thing every time. And he was awesome. He was really fun to work with. I had a great time.
Great. Question right here. Sure. This is for Sly. It's been announced. First of all, it's a remarkable, Sly, that anybody's had 3 franchises in Hollywood history, and it's been announced that there's an Expendables 4 in the works. How long do you think this can go on, and could it ever go on and be with you being expendable? And secondly...
I'll keep him back.
And secondly...
After the fifth Expendables, you start wearing Dependable, so you just... you just keep going.
And also, Sly, you've been announced to play Scarpa, the notorious Italian-American gangster.
Yes.
And when you started out in the 70s, there was the Italian Anti-Defamation League. And I wonder if somebody like Rocky Balboa changed the image of Italian-Americans so that you can do a movie about a big Italian-American gangster today without any kind of protest.
Yeah, I think so. But basically, whatever Rocky did for positive Italian images, pizza has been keeping it going. I mean, you can't. Anyone that invented pizza can't be all bad. Let's face it, seriously.
Great, Brian.
Unless the pepperoni's rigged with C4. But anyway, that's not happening. I think, but then again, you had The Sopranos, which is bigger than any mafia franchise ever. It's just, but I don't want it to. I think it's important that it's controversial because it is a real faction of American, culture, and that's the mystique. So you just play into that. You honor it. If a guy is bad, he's bad, and as long as you have good music in the background, it's okay. Like The Godfather, it makes it okay.
There you go.
Oh, that's my line. Wait a second.
Question?
Hello. Mr. Banderas was really, really funny in this movie, and I really like when he said age is a state of mind. So I would like to know if you agree with him, and where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Well, age is a state of old mind. I mean, it gets to a point where if you get old enough, you forget how old you are, and that's the best thing, is that you walk around kind of like in a fog. So you really don't know how old you are. Right. So it's beautiful. Until you find yourself watching Teletubbies drunk one night and you realize, I'm really effed up. Sorry, but that's the facts of life.
That has the ring of truth.
Great. Question here.
Mel, this is for you, Mel and Rhonda. Rhonda, talk about playing with the big boys here. What is it like? 'Cause I'm a martial arts fan. And Mel Gibson, when you first got the script, what was it like for you when you first read it?
First read the script?
Yep.
Wow, it was very involved. There was a lot of characters in it, and I didn't know how they were going to jam it all in, but somehow they managed to do it. And everybody got a fair shake, and there's a lot of people here. Yeah. And so hats off to Sly for sort of like enabling that to happen. When I read it, I thought, I didn't read it as I was the bad guy, In fact, I didn't even know I was the bad guy until I saw it last night. And it was like,
now that it's done,
yeah.
I don't want.
And it was like, I thought Dolph Lundgren was the bad guy. And so it's a surprise to me, and I'm kind of shocked and a little offended. But yeah.
That's funny.
I wanted to be the love interest, but there was no one to love, really.
What did I think when I first read the script? Is that what you're asking? I mean, it's definitely a very different environment that I thought that I was going to be like the new kid at the school, and I walk into the cafeteria and everyone's like, can't sit here. Like, that's what I thought I was walking into. And they'd probably be like this chick, she's not even an actress, and she's not even a guy or something. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting the worst. And yeah, I felt like the downy teddy bear when I actually showed up. I mean, everyone was just like so welcoming and warm. And
Woman, yes.
It's a woman, yeah. So no, everyone's really, I felt like they went out of their way to make me feel comfortable. And so I couldn't have asked for a better first project to be on. And, I've always been like the one chick hanging out with all the guys anyway. I would have felt more uncomfortable doing Sex in the City 4, So I'm really happy that I was here first.
Everybody here feels that way.
Question right here.
This is for Mr. Stallone. You wrote the story, and you have the Arnold's character teasing your character about retirement. Have you thought about retirement at any moment in your career, and why?
Exactly why. I'm not ready to sit at home and play with Pomeranians 12 hours a day. It's just not ready. So I think you keep going until, seriously. And remember in old vaudeville, there was a cane that came out and snatched you off the stage? Well, I'm waiting for that until they just hook me off the stage. Go, that's it. Actors don't want to retire. They're usually forced to retire. And that's the sad thing, because you really get better as you get older. You may not remember as much dialogue, but what dialogue you do remember, you're better at it. See what I mean? So anyway, we're just adult children, and we're there to perform. And when that's taken away, I've always said that the artist dies twice. and the first death is the hardest, which is the career death and the creative death. The physical death is an inevitability. So I think that everyone should just keep going, and I think that's happening. I think that the genre is opening up, and television is providing more alternate careers or second acts in adult actors' careers. Thank you.
Question here.
So, Mr. Stallone, I was wondering, because I heard that Jackie Chan was invited too, but unfortunately he couldn't work in the movie. So I was wondering, is that a new role for him, or maybe, what kind of role is it? And also in the future, maybe we can see more Asian stars in the movie?
Absolutely. Jackie, absolutely, there will be. Jackie was on, but literally it became a scheduling problem. When Terry said there should be a movie about the person who schedules the movie, people were coming in for, seriously, 4 days, 5 days, 3 days. It was critical timing. Everything stopped for them. We literally would shift the movie and just do their part, then go back to the film again. And then Harrison come in, everything's about Harrison. And Jackie just is so busy in his regular life. He has so many businesses, and he's so loved over in China, and such demand, that he literally couldn't cut those 3 weeks loose. 3 weeks? 3 days, 4 days. And we'll get him next time, don't worry. He's a good friend.
Question over here.
Hey, congratulations, everybody. Really enjoyed this. We've come to expect a lot of action in these films. Didn't let us down here, but there was a lot more words in this one, it seemed to me, and specifically for Sly and Mel. The scene where Mel's backstory is revealed, I thought that was one of the finest in there. Sly, did you write all of that on your own? Mel, did you stay on script? Talk to us about how that scene was developed, please.
I just wrote a guideline, and then Mel came up with the idea of, well, he'll explain about Eric.
Yeah, well, no, it's just, I kind of worked on the script a little at night, and then came in and kind of hammered it out. And I handed the pages to Sly and Patrick, and they looked at it and they went, "Yeah, it's cool." And it's, it was just a theme of somebody who was subcontracted by his government and then thrown under the bus.
A real person.
Well,
so it had a reality to it, is what Mel is trying to say, and he was. And he literally, and I think what gave it some heart is that he was actually saying something that had some truth, and it was valid, and he was committed to it. And I don't believe he saw himself as a bad guy, is what the key to the whole thing was. And then you bring in the aspect of Cain and Abel, and two of the best friends also can become the worst of enemies, because usually when you love something that much, you can also hate it even more because of that schism, that breakup. And he just killed it. In the van, I had some dialogue back and forth with him, and the more he did the scene, the more I realized I shouldn't speak. You know what I mean? I just let him roll, and he was convincing himself, he's convincing me, he's convincing the audience that, what'd you do today, Barney? Who'd you kill? What'd you blow up? What makes you holier than thou? So it was great. It was great.
Question right here.
Hi, everybody. Congratulations on the film. My question is for Mr. Hughes and Mr. Stallone. In the era of sensitivity to gun violence, does that change how you make a good old action film? What are the challenges of that?
First of all, there's no blood. And ours is so over the top that it isn't something that you would expect people to repeat. But I know exactly what you mean. It's a very sensitive thing, and unfortunately, we experienced that on the second one. I really don't know the answer, because it's part of a mythology, but it's also becoming part of a reality that is, that I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what the answer is. We just try to make it so it looks as though it's a fantasy. It isn't real. Sometimes I think when you make a movie, some movies can get so real, then you can say, "Oh, I can do that." There's not a lot of people that can do what the Expendables can do.
Great. Scott.
This is for Mr. Stallone. You and Harrison Ford both kind of had your big career moments start right about the same time, and you've sustained careers over the years. I'm curious what your relationship with him had been like throughout your careers, and what it was like to kind of recruit him into this franchise, and your experience just maybe, I don't know, sharing Hollywood war stories with him.
Oh, God, I go back with Harrison back in '77 at Columbus Circle. Both of us, just wondering how long this is going to last. And Harrison's a very insulated, intelligent, and funny, very witty, dry humors. And when you tap into that, it's great. So when he got over there, once we opened up, and he also worked on his character. He wanted to make it very personal. These are the kind of guys you just don't say, here are the lines. Do it or else. You go, really? No. And he worked on it. So I would say we were on I don't know if we were going to ever work together on a collision course, but this thing was just, actually we became very, very close. And I was just actually talking to him about his leg the other day. I said, better you than me. It's great. It was great. Anyway, we're having a great old time. And boom, are we on?
Yeah. I can hear you.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. Anyway, Harrison is special, very unique, and he can bring a lot to a scene with minimal effort. He's very good.
Right here.
The cast is full of martial artists, boxers, MMA fighters. Do you guys ever get a chance to like spar, put on the gloves between takes, and who wins? I'll start with Mr. Ortiz. Who wins?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, it's a funny story, right? So I do my research before I arrive in Bulgaria, see if I could find a boxing gym, Rhonda had found one, I found one. The one that we trained at, it was huge. When I walked in, I go, Rhonda, you got to see this gym. There's MMA mats, there's 3 boxing rings, it's huge. So now she and I make this thing a daily thing, and when I'm not there, she's there. When she's not there, I'm there. And her work ethic was just insane, and mine as well. So one day we decided to go, and she's like, would you like to do some stand-up with me? I said, you know what? I mean, I would love to. Just, you take me down. I mean, that's a different game. Like I can't really defend myself down there, but bring it. She goes, all right. So I'm left, when I fight, I'm southpaw, lefty. So now I'm tricking her. I'm kind of getting her frustrated. And she says, she's looking at me like, she's looking at me
I
like.
was there. She was not frustrated.
She's looking at me. I do this little step once. She goes for it. I do it again, but on the second one, don't know what she did. I end up on my back in like a second. I don't know how she shifted the weight, but I'm on my back with like an arm bar thing, and then I'm like, whoa, stop. You gonna snap my arm? Stop, I need it. Yeah, so, it was a close.
That wasn't exactly how
See?
it happened. That was not.
Okay.
No. I said I wanted to do clinching drills because I couldn't grab my hand. So the whole idea is as a grappler, I'm always trying to close distance, and him as a striker is always trying to maintain distance.
Yeah, trying to get away.
And so him being a southpaw, I'm like, oh, this would be great. We should train this.
Strong
So
as hell.
he's like trying to get away from me, and I'm trying to close distance and grab him. And so that's pretty much all we were doing for a while.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what? I
Let's
bet you
go
can
into your
throw
world.
me.
Yeah, I was like, let's go into your world.
No. Yeah, he was like, I don't think you could throw me even if you wanted to.
Oh,
And
boy, was I wrong.
He didn't trick me into anything.
I thought I tricked her.
No. I needed you to take a certain step in a certain direction.
Yeah, see? I couldn't read that.
I had to convince him that step was a good idea. So I misdirected him into thinking he was doing something smart. And then he ended up on the ground. And then, so he learned something that day.
No,
and
I didn't learn anything, because after that, I was like,
do you remember
nope.
when you tried to teach me something, Victor? Do you remember this?
Which one?
So I was training, and I was bringing in training partners in because I had a fight around New Year's. And so I was, rolling around. I was doing stuff with my training partners. We were doing some grappling. And I'm already, like, on the ground. And Victor's like, hey, I know a move. I should show you a move.
Oh. Which one?
So then I'm like, you're going to show me a grappling move? I'm
Oh,
like,
no,
okay.
no,
He's like,
no.
yeah, stay there, lay right there. I'm like, okay. So I'm laying, my head's this way, and he lays down next to me. His head's the other way, and he looks at me, and he goes, 69. Which was Victor's tagline for the entire movie. If we were ever in an uncomfortable moment, if he was ever nervous, I remember our first day, we were in the chopper with everybody, and it's like really nerve-wracking. We're the new guys, and anytime there was a moment of silence, Victor would just go, 69?
It worked every time.
I think you
There
learned
was
how
a
to
point
say it in
where
Bulgarian.
Patrick
too.
came up to
I
him.
remember the first scene we shot with Rhonda.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, I actually got beaten up. Was,
gonna recast.
was in scheduling, like Sly was touched on earlier, like we that scene in the bar, I think we went back there 10 times because we never had all the actors together at once because that's the scheduling nightmare. And unfortunately, Rhonda's first time ever on camera was a scene with Sly at a bar, and she was really super nervous. And obviously, you know, I could tell as the director, and I went up and I spoke to her, and I said, well, you know, let's treat this like, what do you do before a big fight? And she says, well, I like to I spar in a room, like get that nervous energy out. And I said, well, so you need to hit something. Let's find something to hit. And she said, but I want to hit you. And I was like, and she goes, put your arms up. And I'm thinking, you know, Rhonda's just going to do this. And I put my arms up. And she goes, where? The next day, I was getting dressed, and my kids were there at the time. My 7-year-old daughter said, what's that? And I said, I had this huge black mark, I had a broken rib, and I said, I got beaten up by an actress.
He didn't have a broken rib. I didn't hit anything hard.
I was like, action!
We have time for one last question right here.
This would be for Wesley, Mel, Sly, Kelsey.
One question, Gail.
Everyone,
one question.
But it includes like Harrison and also Antonio, but I guess not so much Harrison anymore because you kind of talked about that. Who was completely new to the group that you didn't really know before and didn't have a relationship with? And anybody can answer this. And what was that like for you? Was it somebody you admired and had always been wanting to work with?
Well, I've always wanted to work with Sly. I never knew when it would happen. I mean, I'd see him at some party up at, you know, a mutual friend's kid's birthday party or something, and I'd think, well, gosh, I wish there was some way I could find a way to work with this fella. And we have a good mutual friend named John Hertzfeldt, so we're in the same movie together that John directed. But when I actually kind of went after this in a way. I called John and said, you know, can you get in touch with Sly and say, you know, I'd like to be in that next Expendables? And something worked out. My agent, you know, became a bit of a pest. And when I flew into Bulgaria, I had to get out of Transformers for a week. But Michael Bay was great about that. And I flew in, and like you said, they just organized 4 days for that character of Bonaparte. And I had the best time with him. And it was a revelation to me in terms of just how smart and how improvisatorial Sly can be as well, and generous with his time and generous with his acting, except when he changed the camera angle a little bit to make me look shorter. But yeah, I'm sorry. But I just had the best time with him, and there was. What happened was I discovered this real sense of fondness for the man, and I figured that had to be who they were, this Bonaparte character in relationship to what Sly was doing, and that they had a history and a kindness and a love for one another that had to be reflected in the scenes. And I just had the best time ever. And Wesley and I have known each other for years off and on, never worked together, still haven't. But I think he's fantastic. So I was thrilled to be in this film with all these extraordinary actors, but mostly I was just so happy to work with Sly and to find out how fantastic he really is. And I've been impressed ever since. And I hope we do something again together.
Yeah, it really was. Even if you're in the business, I remember the first time I came out, I was like as young as these guys, and I get in an elevator and there's Paul Newman. And you're not prepared for it. You think you're prepared for it, and it's like, who? And then I wonder if they feel the same way about us. And then I'm sure they do. You know what I mean? Like, and the first time I walked in the room, there was John Wayne. I'll never forget this. And I'm going to rent the tuxedo. It was the baby blue. I still have a picture of it. Big, stupid bow tie. And it was for the People's Choice Awards. And I see this man, big guy, coming towards me. And he walks over. He goes, "Hello, my name is John Wayne. And I want to welcome you to the business." And I went, God damn, that's like, but that gives you an idea of the class of the guy. Usually people stand in four corners and everyone's looking away, trying to be, yeah, I hope you didn't talk to me. I don't know what to say. You know, actors, as a rule, tend to be shy. You know, they're not demonstrative people. They really aren't. The same with comics. And so I felt it was great working with these guys because I know what they're going through. You know, Kellen's got a little more experience, but the rest of them are fairly new. And so you're sensitive to that, and I can feel their enthusiasm and nervousness. Rhonda, I wanted Rhonda from Jump Street. I knew she was going to be a star. I just knew it. You know what I mean? She just has it. And her nervousness worked for her because she's so good, you never knew she was nervous. See what I mean? But it gave her the kind of energy. The rest of the guys, these are all one of a kind. We're not coming this way again. To find a guy like Terry and then Randy Couture, I mean, world champions. You have a real bouillabaisse of talent here. And it's great to be in the kitchen mixing it up.